The Sands Casino Resort Bethlehem opened on May 22, 2009, on the former site of the Bethlehem Steel plant in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, on a property that had once housed one of the most consequential industrial operations in American history. Bethlehem Steel had been the second largest steel producer in the United States, whose products had built the Golden Gate Bridge, the Chrysler Building, and the structural skeleton of 20th-century American infrastructure. The company filed for bankruptcy in 2001 and completed its dissolution by 2003, leaving a brownfield of approximately 1,800 acres on the Lehigh River, whose remediation and redevelopment represented one of the largest industrial brownfield challenges in Pennsylvania history. Las Vegas Sands Corporation developed the Sands Casino Resort Bethlehem on a portion of the former industrial site, leveraging Pennsylvania's 2004 authorization of slot machine gambling as the economic rationale for a casino whose specific locational narrative, gaming on the ruins of American industrial greatness, provided the marketing differentiation that distinguished it from competing Pennsylvania gaming venues. The casino operated for approximately 11 years before Las Vegas Sands sold the property to Wind Creek Hospitality in 2019 for approximately $1.3 billion. The forensic entry point is the three-layer institutional narrative, the property documents, an industrial monument whose collapse made casino development possible, a casino whose development made the brownfield's initial redevelopment economically viable, and a Las Vegas Sands strategic divestiture following the same portfolio logic, the Borgata case in Case File 042 documented. 3 institutions, 1 site, each consuming the previous one's failure as its foundation. If this is your first case file from this channel, subscribe now, because every episode adds one more layer to what you are about to understand about the architecture of institutional failure. The Bethlehem Steel blast furnaces stand adjacent to the casino floor, preserved as the anchoring visual element of the casino's exterior presentation. They were not incorporated into the casino development as a genuine adaptive reuse of the industrial structures themselves. The casino is a new construction facility built on cleared brownfield land, using the blast furnace's visual presence as a brand identity element rather than integrating the structure's physical fabric into the casino's architecture. Pennsylvania's 2004 gaming legislation had been authorized on a specific public benefit rationale. Gaming tax revenue and economic development activity would contribute to the broader community recovery from the industrial employment losses that Bethlehem Steel's closure had produced. The casino's gaming tax revenue contribution was genuine. Las Vegas Sands paid Pennsylvania gaming taxes at the mandated rate across 11 years of operation. The community development contribution was more ambiguous. Casino employment provided jobs, but the specific type of economic activity, hospitality and gaming services, rather than manufacturing and industrial production, did not replicate the employment characteristics of the steel plant, whose closure had defined the community's economic loss. The blast furnaces standing adjacent to a casino floor is the specific physical representation of that ambiguity. The industrial heritage preserved as aesthetic backdrop for a gaming operation whose economic model is fundamentally different from the industrial operation whose ruins it occupies. At what point does the adaptive reuse of an industrial heritage site become aesthetic appropriation rather than genuine economic transformation? Leave your analysis in the comments below. The $1.3 billion sale price reflected Las Vegas Sands' assessment, consistent with the Borgata divestiture logic documented in Case File 042, that the Pennsylvania regional gaming market's long-term growth trajectory was insufficient to justify continued capital allocation at the level of property of the Sands Bethlehem scale required. Relative to the returns available from the company's more strategically central international operations in Singapore and Macau, the Las Vegas Sands divestiture decision was not a response to the casino's operational failure. The Sands Bethlehem had generated commercially adequate gaming revenue across most of its operating period. The appraisal failure in this case is therefore at the community development level rather than the casino operational level. The $1.3 billion sale to Wind Creek Hospitality transferred the casino to a new owner whose operational intentions and capital commitment to the Bethlehem site were uncertain from the community development perspective at the time of sale. The Bethlehem Steel site's broader redevelopment, beyond the casino footprint, has proceeded through a combination of public investment, private development, and the ArtsQuest cultural organization's transformation of specific industrial structures into event and cultural venues. A genuine adaptive reuse effort whose pace and scale reflect the specific challenges of a post-industrial brownfield development in a Pennsylvania market with limited private development demand for the site's full 1800-acre footprint. If the forensic analysis this channel conducts is changing how you read real estate headlines, the like button is how the algorithm knows to send this case file to the next analyst who needs it. The institutional denial in the Sands Bethlehem case is not located in any individual actor's assessment of the casino's commercial viability or in the Las Vegas Sands divestiture decision's strategic logic. Both were commercially rational decisions made by parties whose institutional interests were well served by those decisions. The denial is at the policy level. The sustained characterization of casino development as a community development tool for post-industrial brownfield sites, a characterization whose validity the Bethlehem case tests with unusual specificity given the site's industrial heritage significance and the community development expectations that the gaming legislation's authorization had generated. Casino development generates gaming tax revenue. It generates hospitality employment. It does not generate the manufacturing employment, the skilled trades employment, or the industrial supply chain economic activity that steel production at the scale Bethlehem Steel represented had provided to the regional economy. The gaming model was the only economic development tool available for the Bethlehem Steel site that generated sufficient private capital to make the initial brownfield activation commercially viable. That does not make it the correct tool for the community's long-term economic development, only the available one. The Wind Creek Bethlehem Casino continues to operate on the former Bethlehem Steel site under the Poor Band of Creek Indians ownership. The Steel Stacks campus, operated by ArtsQuest, has developed the preserved blast furnaces into a performing arts and cultural venue complex that represents the most genuinely transformative adaptive reuse completed on the site to date. What the Sands Bethlehem case reveals in the context of this channel's 73-case archive is a three-layer institutional failure sequence that this channel has not previously documented in the specific configuration. An industrial company's collapse enabling a casino developer's opportunity, a casino developer's strategic divestiture enabling a new gaming operator's acquisition, and a community's continued navigation of the economic transformation that all three institutional transitions have collectively produced without fully resolving. Las Vegas Sands made a commercially rational decision to sell the Sands Bethlehem, the community whose post-industrial recovery the casino was supposed to support, experienced the divestiture as the departure of an institutional anchor whose continued commitment had been implicitly part of the public benefit justification for the gaming legislation that made the casino possible. That gap between commercial rationality and civic expectation is the specific forensic contribution of the Sands Bethlehem case to this channel's archive. A community development promise that a commercially motivated divestiture did not technically breach, because no document obligated Las Vegas Sands to remain, but whose departure felt like a breach to the community whose recovery had incorporated that continued presence as an expected element. The blast furnaces stand adjacent to the casino floor as the specific physical representation of the question, the ruins of the industrial economy that made Bethlehem significant, preserved as aesthetic backdrop for the service economy that the gaming model represents. Whether those two economies are steps in a transformation or endpoints of a substitution is the forensic question this site poses and has not yet answered. If this case file changed how you evaluate the relationship between casino development and post-industrial community recovery, subscribe because the next case examines a different kind of investment whose civic promises prove equally difficult to enforce. And in the comments, given Las Vegas Sands documented divestiture of a performing asset for portfolio optimization reasons, what specific regulatory mechanism in Pennsylvania's gaming licensing framework would have most effectively aligned the casino operator's holding period with the community development timeline that the gaming authorization's public benefit rationale had established? The case file is open.